Hello, today we are going to practice with questions in the simple present. To begin with, listen to these questions and read them. Do you have a brother? Does she have a car? What are the differences? Why do we use two different words, do in the first and does in the second? In the English language, we have something that is called auxiliaries. The auxiliaries are used to make questions and short answers, and as well as negatives. The auxiliaries for the simple present are do and does. Take a look at these examples. Do I have a cat? Do you have a house? Does he have a dog? Does she have a friend? Does it have a door? Do we have a family? Do they have a clock? Do is the auxiliary for the simple present. We use it with I, you, we, and they. Does is the auxiliary for the third person. They are he, she, it. Let's read and listen to some examples. Do I have a cat? Do you have a house? Does he have a dog? Does she have a friend? Does it have a door? Do we have a family? Do they have a clock? The structure for making questions in the simple present is 1. We write the auxiliary do. 2. We write the subject. It could be I, you, we, and they. Number 3. In number 3, we use the verb base of any verb. In this case, we have. So, the full form is do you have a cat? With a complement. Here we have another example. Do you have a house? Do is the auxiliary. And when you write a question, don't forget to write the question mark. The structure for the third person is as follows. 1. The auxiliary does for the third person. 2. The subject he, she, or it. 3. The verb base, in this case, have. Let's take a look at the affirmative sentence. Mary has a cat. Look, Mary is conjugated with has. In the question, we have, does Mary have a cat? Two things happen here. The first one is we write the auxiliary does before the subject. And then we have the verb have in the base form, not has. Let me give you another example. Does she have a house? In this question, we have the auxiliary of the third person, does. Don't forget to write the question mark. Then we have the verb have, not has. Let's practice with the auxiliaries do and does. Read the sentences below and complete them with either do or does. Now, let's check the answers. 1. Does the boy have a pen? 2. Do the boys have cats? 3. Do the dogs have houses? 4. Does the dog have a house? 5. Do I have a friend? 6. Do we have a cell phone? 7. Does Mary have a clock? Practice number 2. Let's complete with do, does, have, and has. So, read the sentences and complete with do, does, have, or has. Now, let's check it. 1. Do the cats have a house? 2. Does the house have a TV? 3. Do the men have books? 4. Does Peter have a pen? 5. Do you have a friend? 6. Do they have a laptop? 7. Does it have a clock? Read the words and put them in order. Do you have a book? Read the words and put them in order. Does Mary have a car? Read the words and put them in order. Do the men have cars? Let's summarize. We have two auxiliaries. The first one is do. We use do to write a question in the simple present. For example, do you have a house? Do in the question is the auxiliary of the simple present tense. Finally, don't forget that you have to write the question mark. Then, notice that the verb have is in its base form. So, we use the auxiliary do with the subjects I, you, we, and they in questions. The second auxiliary is does. We use does for the third person. For example, does she have a house? In this sentence, we begin with the auxiliary does. So, it has to be joined with a question mark. Don't forget to write the question mark. Then, remember, you have to use the base form of the verb, not has, not the third conjugated form of the verb. So, we use does in questions with he, she, or it.